using the Samsung S Pen SDK. So first of all, I want to talk about why Samsung actually created the S Pen. So, as we all know, I think that devices here were getting higher and higher resolution screens, and you just don't have the precision. I mean, if you think about trying to draw things with your finger, it's great for a lot of UI stuff, right? But if you're trying to do anything precise, you basically get that, right? And even if you take something like a standard stylus, you get better accuracy in terms of, where you're touching on the screen and things like that, but you don't get the full kind of dynamic range that you want. So I think this is a little bit of a fib, but you still can't do what you want. I'm not sure why that one's worse than that one, but because I don't think that's really realistic. But the idea then, with introducing the S Pen, is that not only can you get more precise pointing and drawing of lines and things like that, but because of the pressure sensitivity that you get with the S Pen, you have an extra level of dynamic range that actually gives you even greater control to create some really beautiful things. As an example, we go from what we had on the previous screen to this. And I actually encourage you to go down. They've got some artists down in our booth that are actually doing drawings live. So you can actually go and see people doing some really impressive stuff with this. Just some other points of note. Some people don't know is that the one cool thing with a pen is that it's actually powered by the device. So you don't have to worry about finding like little teeny batteries to put in there. And then the other thing is it allows you some, beyond just the pressure sensitivity and using it as a drawing device, it allows some new kinds of UI interactions. As an example, there's a button on the side, and we've got built into our devices an app, a memo app, and so if you just press the button, double tap, and it pops that up immediately. So that's like a really cool way that you can think about adding some kind of new UI elements beyond just what you might think of with drawing with a pen. Quickly, so this is actually the version of the pen that came out with a 10.1. So you see, we've got the pressure sensitive tip there, we've got the button I mentioned, and then with the 10.11, we now actually have this eraser element on it. Good thing that's off. So now that I've given you some idea of why we created this thing, now I want to talk about how easy it is to actually build an application using this. So we created this SDK that basically abstracts out a lot of the really sort of detailed stuff that you would need to do. It makes it super easy to build applications that make use of the S Pen. So first of all, I'm going to run through this kind of really quickly to give you a high-level overview. We actually just posted the 2.0 version of the SDK this morning. Quick thing about just the content's pretty straightforward. You've got the library file, which is going to be something that you actually have to integrate into your application. And of course, we have our developer guide and quite a few good sample applications that you can take a look at. So, just to give you an idea for people who haven't done this kind of thing before, when you're trying to include a library like this into your project, you actually need to take a few explicit steps. So this is showing if you bring up the properties for your application, this is the screen you would see. And then there's just a few simple steps. You need to bring up the Java build path, go to the Libraries tab, go click on Add External SDK jars, and then go and select where you stored the S Pen jar, and that'll add it into the build system so that Android knows automatically how to include that library. So now, to to get into a little bit of code. Again, I'm not going to do a deep dive here because we don't have time. But I'll just emphasize a few points. So the first thing I want to talk about here is this gives you an idea of the simplicity of creating an application using the S Pen. This is the list basically of all the classes that you need to import. You can see there's not very many. So we actually started out with a version 1.5 where you only needed to import these 5 classes, and now with the new animation capabilities in 2.0, you need to import a few more classes if you want to make use of that. You can see it's quite a small number. So now, this is the part that I like. This is highlighting really all you need to do to get set up with a basic canvas and basic drawing capabilities. So if you set up in your layout file, your XML, you set up a canvas class and a setting view class, and then all you have to do is take that and basically associate the settings with the canvas. So the thing about the settings is that we've actually built this dialog that takes care of all the things about setting the characteristics of the pen and stuff. So it's a really nice piece. So that's all it takes to basically get you started. So now moving on to the new capabilities that we've added in 2.0. In particular, we're kind of emphasizing this really cool animation feature. And this is basically all you need to do to set that up. Sort of the same thing where you're grabbing your canvas view, and then there's some extra things you have to do to kind of basically initialize things for the animation. And then what you get out of it is this really cool ability where somebody can be drawing out something, and then you can actually replay it. So it gives you this kind of feeling of this dynamic. So what I like about it is, like, imagine you're writing a note to a friend. They actually get to kind of see it almost like you're there writing it to them. It's just that, you know, I'm sure people will come out with more impressive ideas than that. Again, just highlighting the amount of code that you need to basically put this together. There's really just 4 main calls here: setting things up, turning on the animation, loading up basically your data, and firing it off. That's all it takes. So we're really excited about this new, I think, pretty innovative, interaction piece with the S Pen. And we're going to be bringing it out to more devices in the future. We've just launched the 10.1 tab, and so there'll be more to come after that. So now that I've told you all the great things about this is where you can go to find out more about it. So developer.samsung.com is our developer outreach portal. So that's actually a really useful spot to go for a lot of other information as well. And in particular, you can find the links easily to download. Like I said, we just released version 2.0 of the SDK. It's there. You can go grab it, start playing with it, have fun. With that, I'm going to hand things over. We've got a couple companies here that have done some really cool applications with the S Pen already. So this is Ron from TouchNote.